Now it started. So we already discussed the types of research on the basis of application and objectives. And now we're going to discuss research on the basis of inquiry mode. That is a qualitative research and the quantitative research. What's your inquiry mode? Either it can be qualitative and quantitative. So I want to ask you a question. What's your opinion that what is qualitative research? What is the qualitative research? Inquiry mode means how you inquire. What's your way of conducting that research? It can be qualitative or quantitative. And what's your opinion? Because qualitative and quantitative, yeah, they are quite simple words. So I want to know your opinion. What do you think? What is the qualitative research? Just feel comfortable and give me your point of view in any language, no issue.
सर क्वालिटेटिव में हम क्वालिटी देख सकते हैं, जैसे आपने कहा कि कंटेमिनेशन किस वजह से या इस तरह से या वाटर की कंटेमिनेशन देख रहे होंगे उस रिसर्च में, और जो क्वांटिटी है उसमें हाउ मच कंटेमिनेशन, मतलब क्वांटिटी में चले जाएंगे उसमें.
Yes, and that's partly true. I agree with this a little bit. Can you give any other example? In qualitative research, we do not have any structured questionnaire. What do I mean by the structured questionnaire? That, for example, when you collect the data and you have a data like gender, and in the gender, it is possible either it can be male or female. Maybe in your data set, if you are working with any disease, you may have in your data set, may you have another variable like age. Then you have another variable like season. So with these variables, let's suppose you want to see the seasonal association of a disease. You want to see the distribution of the disease in different age groups. You want to see the association of a disease with gender. So what happens that although you do not know that what fraction of male they are positive for disease, what fraction of females they are positive for the disease, but you already know that in your results you get data about the male and female. You already know what's coming. It's possible that it can be 20-30, 20-80, it can be 30-70, it can be 60-40. But you already know that in your questionnaire, it has certain options and the person has to choose between those options, and you know that it is coming from male and female. Only the percentages it can change. When it comes to the age group, you know what's coming. In your research, you will have some children, maybe you have some adult. Their proportions can vary, but you cannot have anything that you do not foresee before going to the field. So you already know, even before going to the field, you already know what's coming. Although their proportions can vary. But when it comes to the qualitative research, we use unstructured questionnaire. In unstructured questionnaire, when it comes to, I restrict myself, let's suppose, to the surveys. In unstructured questionnaires, we just ask people for their opinion. What's your opinion about this? What do you think why this is happening? Do you think before asking that question to the other person, you can just predict what's coming? I mean, if I am responding a structured questionnaire, what will going to happen that if someone will ask me about gender male, because the person already know that either the responder can be male or female. But if someone asks me about my opinion, how many options are available? There are uncountable options. Maybe I will going to say anything. So researcher, in case of qualitative research, we use unstructured questionnaire. That's why in qualitative research, it's more about taking interviews. And then you go on with questions like this: opinion, why? And when you ask someone why this is happening, you do not have those limited options that a person can choose. No, everyone can have anything. So in qualitative research, you do not know what's coming. In quantitative research, you know what's coming. The qualitative research is used to explore the nature of a problem. Why this is happening in the population. So why we have the spread of certain disease? Why we see the contamination, as I using the example of one of my students. And in quantitative research, as we use the structured inquiry mode, we discuss how much is the problem. So we try to quantify something. So it's more about quantification. What's the extent of a problem? So why I ask you to define qualitative and quantitative research is that I deliberately use the examples of gender. I deliberately use the example of age groups. I deliberately use the examples of season, because a lot of people, they just mix two things together. In my opinion, that's wrong. As far as the information is concerned, information is measured on 4 scales. One is nominal scale, other one is ordinal scale, and then we have the interval scale and the ratio scale. And when we try to discuss the data, and when we describe them, we relate the nominal and the ordinal data as categorical data, or another name for them is a qualitative data. And sometimes you will going to see a word like this, that these are the qualitative variables. And these two scales, one is the interval scale and other one is the ratio scale. That's people, they name it as the data that we get either using the interval scale or the ratio scale is quantitative data. So it's a continuous data. Another name for it, quantitative or continuous data. So students, they confuse themselves that when in any questionnaire, they see these two things. Nominal scale, when it comes to the nominal scale, let me explain a little bit that they are names. And they do not have any concept of superior or inferior. And you have limited number of options available. Sex, male and female. Exam results, either it pass or fail. Blood groups A, B, O, AB. Eye color, blue, green, blah, blah. So you have limited options. Season 4. So they are just names. And when we look at that kind of data set, we consider them as, they are qualitative variables. And every research that uses these variables will be a qualitative research. That's absolutely wrong. On another scale, a lot of people, they got confused, is the ordinal scale. Once again, the data is discrete. It's a categorical data. like the response, but there is some concept of superior or inferior. Like response to a treatment, it can be good, poor, or fair. As far as the income status is concerned, low, middle, and high income status, severity of the disease, mild, moderate, severe, and when it comes to your grades in any test, it can be A, B, C, or F. So limited number of options available. The data jump from one point to another point. And then there is a concept of superior and inferior. A are considered as superior and F are considered as inferior. So once again, that's a qualitative scale. And in any questionnaire, when researchers they see questions like this, income status, they consider it as qualitative. And then they relate this to the qualitative research. It's not always compulsion. For example, if I want to quantify an infection with reference to gender, my variable is a qualitative variable, male and female. But maybe if I am answering this question, my problem is that what fraction of male they are positive for a disease and what fraction of female they are positive for a disease in a specific population. If my question is this one, in that case, I am just quantifying. Maybe I am got 30% to 70%. That's quantification. That's that you check the intensity. If I want to see in any population the distribution of various blood groups, A, B, O, AB, although the variable is a qualitative variable, but if my question is on how much A blood group are present in any population, in that case, my research is a quantitative research. I'm quantifying this. So in quantitative research, you never ever see a question like this. When they have a question in their questionnaire, they have a question like gender, male, female, exam result, pass, fail, blood group, A, B, O, B. These are all quality, although these variable, they are qualitative variable. But it depends on if your objective is to quantify all these qualitative variable. In that case, your research will be a quantitative research. And the best way to distinguish between a qualitative research or a quantitative research is to look that whether you can predict the outcome or you cannot predict what's coming. Although proportions can vary. Maybe I will have a 0 male positive and every female negative. Oh, 0 male positive and every female positive. But still, I know that in that data, I will get either male and female positive. Maybe it's 30-20, no issue. 40-60, no problem. The proportions can vary, but I know what I will going to get at the end of my research. When you want to know what fraction of population they have a specific blood group, you know what's coming. Although you cannot quantify how much it will coming, but you know what's coming. But if your questionnaire includes, what do you think about this? What's your opinion? Why this is happening? In that case, before conducting the research, do you think any researcher know what I will going to get in the outcome? No. That's why we have another name for unstructured. Secondly, normally the sample size for a quantitative research is normally more. And sample size for a qualitative research, normally when you look for all these questions, when you need to take interviews, you need to explore something. In that case, you cannot just send your questionnaire. because the presence of researcher is compulsory for qualitative research. Because the researcher will going to observe everything. While in case of quantitative research, you can just throw the questionnaire to anyone. If someone is working on the behavior, he need to go to the field, and then he never knows. By sitting here, he never knows that what will be the behavior of a specific animal. So he will going to go there, and he or she will have his or her own observation there, because he do not know what's coming. But if someone wants to quantify how much male animals are there, how much female animals are there, what is the population of that animals, the researcher already know what's coming. So just try to look at the questions. And what's your objective? And how you will going to inquire? By carefully looking at those questions, you can clearly decide whether it's a qualitative research or quantitative research. Qualitative research, as it uses few samples, few responders, what will going to happen? That at the end of qualitative research, we do not decide about population. Rather, in the literature, you will going to see somewhere, a lot of people, they wrote something that after the qualitative research leads to the generation of the theory. So once someone tries to explore something, he goes to the field and he just carried out a qualitative research. After conducting a qualitative research with few samples, he never ever claims about population. Rather, he will say that in my observation, those people, those my responders, those are my subjects, they showed that kind of thing. And he will end up coming up with a theory. And later on, that theory will be tested through quantitative research. I am using those examples in which the things are already proved to make things simple. For example, someone who carried out a qualitative research, he observed one thing, that in my observation, I see more cases during the spring as compared to winter. And a quantitative research will go there, go collect data, seasonal data of the infections, and then there will be quantification. And either that theory will be rejected through that quantitative research, or it will be accepted through that quantitative research. So the purpose of qualitative research, while when we carry out the quantitative research, we take a sample, but we claim about population. In qualitative research, we have only claims about maybe this is possible. So people, they carry out qualitative research, they generate theories, and later on those theories, they are available for everyone to be tested through quantitative research. Simple clue for you people, if you want to differentiate between a qualitative and the quantitative research, is look for questions. Why question is always qualitative. Interviews, most of the time when people ask about opinions, they are all qualitative, because people do not choose between options. While where you have closed-ended questions like gender, exam results, blood group, eye color, blah, 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 where you have only, you know what's coming. In that case, you know that it's a quantitative research. There is another important thing when it comes to the surveys. Although in biology, only the disease section that includes these kind of stuff when we work with the epidemiology of the diseases, or when we work with studies on behavior, we have more qualitative research, because 99% of the research in biology is all quantitative. You carry out experiments and then you quantify the stuff. But when it comes to the survey, if you are doing some surveys and all those stuff in your future, if you are working on something, it's very, very much possible that some of your objectives, in order to achieve those objectives, for some objectives, your inquiry mode is qualitative and your inquiry mode is maybe in other, for other objectives, you may have an inquiry mode that is quantitative in nature. What do I mean by this? That maybe in the social sciences, you have seen cases that they have huge questionnaires. And those questionnaires, they include both, sometimes they have directly the quantitative variables like weight, height, temperature, and then they have a qualitative variables like gender, blood group, eye color. And then they may have some questions that are purely a part of a qualitative research, that will be about behavior, that will be about opinion, that will be oriented about why. So even in a single study, it's possible that you followed a qualitative design, and that's all. In a single study, it's possible that you carry out a quantitative research. Perfect. And maybe it's possible that in a single study, for one objective, you followed a qualitative design. Thank you. Thank you very much. And for other objectives, you have a quantitative research methodology. So we name it as mix. So mix is possible, and both separate, they are also possible. Do you have any question regarding this? Just feel comfortable and ask. Do you agree with my explanation of what is, are you really sure what is a qualitative research and what is a quantitative research? And you will not going to mix them with variables only. Please respond so that I can continue. Is there any distortion in my voice? Is it clear? Please update me.
सर क्लियर हो गया सर. जी सर आवाज आ रही है सर, लेकिन हमारे इधर बहुत शोर.
What do you mean by this?
सर इसलिए अनमाइक नहीं करते हम कि इधर शोर ज्यादा है.
Is it everything clear? Are you really sure about what is the qualitative research and what is?
जी sir.
Do not mix them with variables. Although they are qualitative variables, but sometimes we quantify those qualitative variables. जब भी हम proportions निकाल रहे होते हैं, वो quantify कर रहे होते हैं. Is it clear? Secondly, आप लोग fix हो जाते हैं. You just fix yourself that my research is either qualitative or quantitative. It's possible that even within a single questionnaire, you have certain questions that address quantitative and certain questions that address qualitative. So just look at it. and decide on the basis whether the researcher already know what's coming, whether you can predict what's coming or not, whether you are quantifying or not. These are three criteria, just use it. And hopefully you have very clear idea about it. So qualitative and quantitative nominal scale, and then you have ordinal scale, and then you have interval scale and ratio scale. I think this part I cover, and this is a basic part, and you are maybe you already know about all those scales, because these are information is always collected on those four scales, and for research we need information, and we handle the information in research. So you need to have a very clear idea about what are these four scales. Do you want me to revise them again, or you have a very clear idea? Just tell me if anyone has any confusion regarding all those four scales that we use to collect information, so that I can jump. Either I need to jump from these slides or I need to explain this. Please tell me so that.
क्लियर है, ठीक है.
And now we will move to the characteristics of research. The first, if you are conducting a research, you have to ensure the controls. You must need to have the control. What do we mean by the control? That you have to minimize everything. You have to try to eliminate everything, every other thing other than your desirable target that affects something. That's why we carry out research in our labs, where we have control on conditions. For example, if you want to check the thermal susceptibility of bacteria, whenever you carry out an experiment, you just give every other condition uniform, favorable for their growth. And you just switches the temperature so that any other source of variation could be minimized. If not possible, if not eliminated, it must be minimized to the lowest level. When you work with antibiotics, antibiotic susceptibility of the bacteria, you culture those bacteria on their medium that is suitable, that is desirable for their growth. You put them in an incubator. You offer them a temperature that is ideal for their growth. So you keep everything ideal. And the only difference is that you introduce antibiotics. So you introduce antibiotics to some bacteria and you do not. So for a research, it must need to have control. Control means everything else other than your target must not be able to bring any variation. If elimination is not possible, it must be very, very much minimal. Secondly, your research should be rigorous. What do I mean by the rigorous? That your procedures, you must need to be very carefully look into the fact that the procedure you adopt must be appropriate. The methods, they should be suitable. Your objective should be carefully designed. And at the end of your research, you must be able, once you get the data, that data must be able to answer your problem. There should not be anything that misfits there. your objective, your design, your procedures, methods, and at the end, whatever you have data, you just need to carefully look into each and everything. That the information that you will get at the end of your research must need to address that specific problem. And it must need to be systematic. It uses, normally when it comes to the research, we use the scientific method. Validity, there is no compromise on your research should be valid. And verifiable. That whatever you will going to conclude after carrying out that research must be verifiable by others. So your procedure must be so sure, so clear cut that other can replicate your experiment. And after replication, they must need to get the same thing. You cannot claim something that is not verifiable. That is not research. Anything that cannot be verified is not our research. And your findings should be empirical. Empirical means it must be based on your observations and experiments. Please put all your biases on one side. It must not be based on only logic, and it must not be only based on some self-creativity. The finding should be based on only experiment and observations, not exclusively based on your logic or your perspective or your biases. It must not be based on your opinion. Your finding must be only and only based on your whatever you will going to get, what findings you will going to get from your experiment or observations. And the last one is the critique. Before declaring something, there should be a critical scrutiny of each and every step of your research. So in order to qualify to become a research, it must need to have a control, it must be rigorous, it must be systematic, it must be valid, verifiable, empirical, and critical. It does not make any difference what kind of research you are conducting. You just need to make sure. So this is all applied course. So first, at any time, when you are going to conduct your research, just decide what's the application of your research. Clearly write whether it's a pure research or applied research. What are the objectives of your research? You need to decide the objectives of your research. And you should be very, very clear in your mind. Whether you have a descriptive, exploratory, correlation, or explanation, very, very clear mind. And then you need to switch to third one, whether it's qualitative, quantitative, or it's something mixed. And then you need to look for all those questions, whether you are going to conduct a research on a very sophisticated instrument or you just carry out a survey without doing disturbing any nature. Still, at the end, what you are going to get only data, information. And you measure the data on a questionnaire. So you carefully need to look at each and everything in your questionnaire. And then you just need to keep that list. And look things that whether you have control on conditions, whether it's rigorous, whether it's systematic, valid, verifiable, empirical, or critical or not. If you make sure all these things at the start, you will not have any problem conducting any research. And now we're going to move to the research process. There are 8-step model to carry out the research. Do you have any questions? Just feel comfortable and ask.
सर स्लाइड शो नहीं हो रही है.
This time it's from my side. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
That was the last slide, characteristics of research. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now we're going to discuss the research process. Please mute your mic. It is creating distortion. If you have any question, please unmute it, no issue. But if you do not have any question, please mute it. Research process. 8-step model to carry out research. The first thing, I mean, these are something and few things that have a lot to do with common sense. Lot of people, they in the objective section of their thesis, they write something else. They have a different research problem. And then they have different answer. And if you go blindly to any research without considering all those things, you will be in crisis. Because in science, everything is free for scrutiny. And we respect criticism in science. That's why science is so open. So, first step, you need to have a very, very clear idea. What do you want to research? You must need to have a very clear problem, research problem. What do I mean by this? That, for example, if someone is interested to work with leishmaniasis, he must not, it's not enough to just use the word leishmaniasis, or if someone is working on sandfly, or if someone is working on malaria, or if someone is working on some another disease, that's not enough to just decide a disease. You need to decide that what you want to research. What's your problem within that disease? For example, the research question could be that at present, I do not know what is the prevalence of leishmaniasis in district Mirpur. And I just give you how easier it is for a new researcher to detract from it. So they write just, they have a topic and they have decided that, okay, they will going to work on the prevalence of leishmaniasis in district Mirpur. So they decided, let's suppose they decide a hospital and it's a district hospital. And then they go there to their OPD and then they collect data from cases of leishmaniasis. So maybe they have 200, 100, 150, 200 questionnaires they are filled from all those positive cases of the leishmaniasis. And they have lots and lots of information regarding what is the status of those cases of leishmaniasis and all those stuff. But in order to find the prevalence, you need to have data from each and every one. So if you do not include the normal cases, you cannot calculate the prevalence. That's a very, very simple thing. And after conducting that research, if someone only have data of positive cases, in that case, that is not prevalence. If you need to have the prevalence, you need to go to the population and then screen everyone. And then take a sample, whatever sample you decided, and then screen people, and among them there will be positive and negative. You cannot just go there, target those positive cases, and then decide that's prevalence. That's not real prevalence. So people do not know about that, the distribution, seasonal distribution of a disease. So that's the seasonal data. But if you do not include all the 4 seasons, how you can decide that it's a seasonal prevalence? So it's not only enough to, normally people, they got convinced with only what? New researcher, they just look at leishmaniasis and they go with that without looking what they want to do. And then they may get some questionnaire and online or somewhere else. And in those questionnaires, maybe they have some different objective than them. So that's why people did. So your research problem must need to be answered from your research. So first, you need to decide what to research. So once you have decided a topic for yourself, whatever topic you will going to decide, I will going to work on the water contamination in main water sources of district Mirpur. So you have decided a topic that you are going to work on. Maybe it's a heavy metal, it can be anything. You just need to decide it. So it's a topic that got decided. So once you decide a topic, that second phase is that now you need to plan your research study. Planning the research study mean the first step is always you just need to conceptualize your research design. What will be your research design? What design? Whether it's a random, whether it will be a random sampling, whether it will be a stratified sampling, whether you use probability sampling, non-probability sampling, all those things we're going to discuss later on, because we're going to discuss each and every step. But you must need to think before even conducting that research. You must need to be very clear about your research design, and you have a clear concept that this design I will going to follow, and it's feasible, it's possible for me to carry out that design. And then the third step is constructing an instrument for data collection. Constructing an instrument it's more appropriate to use the word like questionnaire. You need to develop the questionnaire for data collection. Carefully develop that questionnaire. So normally, do not confuse that instrument with the lab instrument. So normally in biology, we sometimes carry out research in lab. So we just need to collect data, and then we need to enter that data in our questionnaire. So we use instruments, and people, they confuse it. That's not an instrument. In social sciences, for example, if someone is going for a survey and he will going to collect the data, he is not using any specific instrument. For them, the instrument is your questionnaire, is their questionnaire. Why questionnaire becomes an instrument for people of social sciences? Because it's the questionnaire that will going to answer that problem, and they will going to measure that problem only through that questionnaire. So development of a questionnaire is much more critical in social sciences than natural sciences. So carefully construct that questionnaire. And then you need to select the sample. What's the suitable sample for your research? What's the population? How much population you will going to engage? How much samples you will going to take? And the fifth step, please do not miss this thing. Write a research proposal. In my university, we use a name like that we have a synopsis. When you are going to write a research proposal, you are going to give all those argument why you have decided for this topic, what will be the objectives of your research, what methodology you will going to adopt. When you will going to write everything, then you can send it to more experienced people, so they can just critically review your proposal and give their input so that you do not conduct anything wrong. So it's very, very important to write a research proposal before conducting the research. So once you have done that thing, then your real research comes. Then you carry out your research activity. You just collect the data. Either you use some instruments or you go to the field and you just look without disturbing the nature. You just collect the information. Once the information is being collected, whether you use some instrument or you just surveyed thing and you never disturb the environment, at the end of the day, the only thing you get will be the data. And the next step is to process and display that data. Processing means you just need to suitably analyze that data. And ultimately, you have to display the findings. And then you need to write a research report or thesis. Do you have any question regarding this? Just feel comfortable and ask. We're going to discuss each and every of these 8 steps during this course. Just feel comfortable and ask. Do you have any question? Please unmute the mic and update me. And or you can write it on the chat section as well. I will wait for you people to ask questions for maybe next couple of minutes and then it will be lecture dismissed.
सर आप ये PDF शेयर कर देंगे?
Okay, I will share all the sources. No issue. Not only the PDF, but